Welcome! In this series of short videos, we will give an introduction to those who have never used PowerBasic before, or even considered taking up programming. Today we will look at why you may want to amend an application that you have already written. So why would you want to amend an application that either you or someone else has already written? If your application is running well, what reasons would you have to risk changing the code? Changing your code risks breaking existing functionality. So why would you make these changes? So what reasons are there to make changes? Functionality. Either the application is not working the way you want, basically it has one or more bugs or errors, or the application needs to perform some task it has never done before. Performance. The application, while running error-free, is not running as fast as you need. It needs to be more performant. Security. Perhaps additional levels of security or encryption need to be built into the application, which, while not changing its basic functionality, will make it more secure. Maintainability. The way an application has been coded may not make it easily maintainable in future, or perhaps scalable, and changes need to be made that won't change what the application does, but will pave the way for easier future amendments. Functionality. When an application is first created, you may have only received a rough idea of what those who are going to use the application actually require. This is quite common. Users tend to provide requirements based on the way they currently do things, perhaps manually, not thinking ahead to how the process will change when your application is in use. Your application may well automate stages of the process, and once users start using the new application, be prepared for more requests for change coming in on the wish list. If you're using an agile methodology for your projects, you should be used to this iterative approach to development. Performance. The very first iteration of a new application should deliver what the users require from a minimum viable product. However, it may not be fully optimized, and while functional, it may take longer to run than you would like. This may be a major improvement to what the users are used to, especially if you are automating a manual process. When designing your application, you can build in an audit trail, giving details of when key points in the application are triggered. This will allow you to measure the performance and identify areas of code that take the most amount of time to run. For unattended applications, long processing times may not be critical, as there will be no user waiting for something to happen. However, if your application is directly client-facing, then performance can be critical to the experience of your application. Security. While it is important that your application does its job and is therefore both functional and performant, having a secure application is equally as important. There may be users that you don't want to be able to access your application at all, and some areas of the application that only a select few users should gain access to. Building security into your application from the start is always easier than trying to retrofit it later. So when determining what the application is required to do, who should be able to access it, and what parts of the application or data should be one of your first questions when gathering requirements. Maintainability. It's a rare event when an application, once initially written, never needs any future changes. You should expect that your application or system will have a beginning, a life cycle, and eventually retirement, after which it is replaced by another system or just becomes unnecessary. During the life cycle of your application, it may need many changes for the variety of reasons we have already covered. However, one reason for changing an application is often overlooked, and that is to change an application to make it easier to maintain in the future. You may inherit source code from another developer or team, and also be expected to be able to make changes to that code. Or you may write an application quickly to meet some need. Code of this type may not be well documented and be difficult for a programmer to understand and subsequently amend the code. So there may be a time to make non-functional changes to code to prepare the way for future changes. Users rarely understand developers spending time and effort for no apparent or visible gain to the users. However, when the next code change is going to be completed in 2 hours rather than 2 days, because of the preparatory work you have done, then they will quickly appreciate your work. That's it for today. Thank you for watching.